Well, I'm on the phone with Coach Duane Crawford from the Ellsworth High School Eagles. And, Coach, a tough game this week. You head on the road up to Houlton to take on the Shiretowners on Friday night. If you would, talk to us, tell us how practice has gone, and then we'll talk a little bit about the preparation for Houlton in terms of what time you leave and things like that.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good week of practice. I mean, we've had some kids that have still been out from the Orono game and from still the back to school, I've been sick type thing. So it's dealing with rotating people around and getting people in different positions. So we're a little thin at some spots still, but working around that, and just been working hard on our scheme for Houlton. And last night we got a little wet, but other than that, it's been a pretty good week of practice.
Well, we needed the rain for sure, but you wish that it didn't happen during practice.
Boy, it came down. We were just finishing, but we had a middle school game there, and it was coming down really hard during the third quarter of that game.
Yeah, well, it's good to practice how to hang on to a wet ball, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was playing team quarterback for the Look offense, and that ball, I can't throw it anyway, and then you have another couple of pounds of water on it. It makes it really difficult. So, so no, it's just giving the kids, we're at the point where, this I was thinking about it last night. I mean, we're a third of the way through the season after Friday night, and so I've looked at what we've done up to this point and kind of cut back a little bit on some of the conditioning things we've done, because the kids we worked really hard, and you want to have them get back to a healthy physical state after getting beaten up by Orono Friday night, so have them get back that way, and so it's kind of changed the tempo of the practice a little bit and focus more on X's and O's and as opposed to the conditioning portion. And of course, this time of year, you hope you've repped your tackling and your techniques in preseason and by the first game, or certainly by the second. So now pretty much everything we do is either spud or on air. And then look team and both offense and defense, it's not a great look to begin with, because there's such a disparity between the varsity and the look players, but at least it gives the varsity something to look at that's moving other than just bags out there, someone holding a bag, and so you have to kind of improvise to get what you need out of the practices, and that's what we've been doing.
In terms of going up to Houlton on Friday, what time will you leave the high school? And let's talk a little bit about the trip.
Yeah, we're going to leave at 2:00. So it's a long drive up there. And told the kids last night, make sure they pack a lunch. They're going to need food. And this is my first trip to Houlton, so it's a new experience for me as well. So, but we'll stop once on the way to give everybody a little break and stretch their legs, and but that's just a long bus ride, 3+ hours to get up there. So
right. So you've talked to them about hydrating. I mean, because they'll have lunch at school, but they need to eat and drink and have some energy to be able to play for the football game on Friday night.
Yeah, we have team dinners on Thursday night, so that's always good, because we get they get a good meal on Thursday night, and Brenda Jordan, Keith's mom, heads that up and does a great job getting all kinds of good stuff. We usually have, we had burgers last week on the grill, and hot dogs and watermelon and a bunch of stuff. And the week before we had pulled pork and pulled chicken sandwiches and pizza. So they do a great job with that, and we mix up a bucket of Gatorade as well. So when we talk to the kids about hydrating, and thank God, for last Friday night's game, we got there and it was 93 degrees.
Oh, I know.
And at kickoff, it was 84. So we had the kids go out, which is something I've never done before. We had to go out without their uppers on, just their game jerseys. And we put the shoulder pads and the helmets on the sideline, and had them go through pregame without the shoulder pads on. But tonight or tomorrow night, that's not going to be the case. It should be definitely A lot cooler, by probably 20 degrees.
Yeah, they're talking temps in the lower 50s and probably high 40s up in the Houlton area. Everyone's going to need long sleeve shirts.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's that's one of the things I will say. For everything we do, and when you have 11 or 12 kids that go both ways, the conditioning is a huge factor. And even against Orono, that game, they were able to go the entire. We did put JV in the third quarter, but it was still. Everyone was out there the entire game going both ways, and they were able to do it. And that's asking a lot when you have them on special teams and you have them on offense and defense, and you're returning punts and you're returning kickoffs and you're kicking off. And so there's a lot to it. And so when they can do that in that type of weather, the 60 or 50 degree kickoff temperature will be much welcomed and a lot easier to play in.
Exactly. Give us, if you would, the keys to victory against Houlton.
The keys to victory, we just have to block on the offense. We have to get off the line of scrimmage and block well on something that we did well against Lincoln at Oncook Academy. We blocked and tackled really well. And I know the score didn't reflect that, but the score was a result of turnovers more than anything else. And then we got to Orono, and the bottom line with Orono is, they were just so much bigger and faster and older and stronger and everything that goes with it than us. So I think that was maybe a little intimidating, and not to mention the fact that that you've got a sophomore trying to tackle a senior who outweighs him by 50 or 60 pounds. It's not easy. And I actually watched a replay of Mount Blue and Brewer Monday night. And Jim Aylward, who was the Mountain Valley coach for forever and has a number of state championships, is the coach for Mount Blue now. And they did a pre-game coaches interview with each of them, and it was interesting to hear him talk. That they're just trying to get better each week and be able to block and tackle and play football. Brewer, of course, is just huge. Their fullback is he must have been 260 plus, and it's one of those things. I looked at it was. To us in Orono, we were just running way over Mount Blue because they just couldn't do anything to stop him. They just give the fullback the ball and he'd rumble down the field 10, 15, 20 yards with kids bouncing off it. So, when you get that kind of disparity, it's hard to work on or to find anything positive out of the game. So I'm hoping that we'll get back to 6 of the blocking and the tackling for Friday night, and if we can do that, we'll be in good shape.
A year ago, you won your first game. Looking back on Facebook memories, it'd be nice to come out with the first victory of 2016, obviously, up in Houlton. What do you let the kids sleep for half the way and then wake them up and talk X's and O's on the bus trip, or what do you do on the bus on going up?
Yeah, no, it's more of a quiet time. Just if they want to sleep the first half of it, just relax, focus on the job at hand. Most of them have their headphones on, and they're listening to music, and they travel pretty well. They've been pretty good about that, and that's not always easy with the group because you get a number of players that may not participate in the game depending on what the outcome is. So, they don't get quite as focused as they need to, and sometimes they can be a distraction, but this group for the most part has been pretty good. So, this being, 3 hours of looking at the scenery and trying to do X's and O's on the bus is not easy. You can't get anyone close enough. You can't get them all together to do it. And they do have their play sheets they can look at. They have playbooks for both the offense and the defense. So have them study that on the way up and just relax and focus on the job that's at hand. Okay.
If you win the coin toss, are you going to kick off or receive?
No, we're going to take the ball.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we'll take it, and I think I've said this before. It's a momentum thing. I'd like to be able to generate some momentum on offense and get the ball moving, and that I think will give us some confidence. And if we can do that, I think that'll go a long way to setting the tone for the game. So I'd rather do that and as opposed to going out on defense and letting them set the tone. So that's what we'll do. We'll take the ball if we get it, and hopefully we can put together a good drive.
All right, Coach. Best of luck. We'll talk to you on Monday, and look back on the game against Houlton, and then get ready for. There's no rest. I mean, next Friday night you're home against WA.
WA, and that's our homecoming game. So that'll be a fun game. They're a well-coached team, and Barry does a good job down there, so that'll be fun as well.
All right, Coach. Have a good week.
All right, thanks.